And of course, we can't not talk about Weapon Refinery, which I found was really interesting because, number one, I was expecting things to be a lot more shitty. So, if anybody doesn't know how it works in Fire Emblem or any gacha game, they basically aren't allowed to change the stats up because it's considered gambling in Japan, and because of like you gamble for something and then change things, that's basically like unlawful, right? At least in Japan's eyes, which is as a result, the only thing they can do to balance out heroes is to give them, you know, like adjustments, like through equipments, which is like what we're seeing here with Weapon Refining. So Executus for Zephiel is an interesting option. I was definitely thinking he was gonna get distant counter because, you know, in the game he has distant counter, but this isn't exactly a bad option as well. Defense -6 is pretty big, excluding dragons because he loves dragons, so obviously doesn't want his sword to work on dragons. And it's just more nullification. I'm surprised. I really thought it was gonna be this encounter. It's not bad, but kind of iffy in my eyes. The reduction, if attacked is it's the reduction on bow, daggers, magic, or staff, and adding to defense and res +6 is actually pretty good because he's a wary fighter hero. He has tons of HP and he's pretty hard to kill. So getting him extra defense, res +6 would go a long way for him. I know, I was expecting DC because if they wanted to be accurate, but that was me putting my bar pretty high up, you know. So I guess if it isn't fulfilled, it isn't fulfilled. It's fine. But it does make you worry for like heroes like say Roy. Like the Binding Blade is going to suck for sure now. If they're not going to try and make things accurate, it's definitely going to suck. But yeah, it's basically distant defense in his sword, and I guess he can stack distant defense as a seal and a distant defense in his A slot, but I really think like it's pretty obvious that he's one of the good heroes to use distant counter on. Anyways, moving on, Hinoka Spear grants attack speed +4 during combat infantry or flying allies within 2 spaces of unit. Infantry and flying allies within 2 spaces can move to a space adjacent to unit. I don't remember what Hinoka Spear does in the game because I haven't played the game. Rin, aren't you like an expert on Fates? Didn't you beat it like 100 times?
I don't care about Birthright, I only care about...
Okay.
So I don't know.
Very Rin-like of you. So, attack speed +4 is pretty cool if infantry or flying allies within 2 spaces of unit. That's pretty easy to keep, so it's just within 2. It's like reverse spurring. It's not bad. Attack speed +4 is pretty good. Granted though, most Hinokas I've seen have been using Brave Lance, so to switch off Brave Lance is pretty rough. Fire Sweep, to switch off Fire Sweep is pretty rough. So I'm not sure if how many people actually use it, but it's a great lance, especially for people who are newer people who are going to use Hinoka going into the future. It increases her usability, increases her offense, and the infantry and flying allies within 2 spaces can move to a space adjacent to unit. It's basically got like improved guidance. I'm pretty sure guidance doesn't work with flying heroes, so it actually does it. I'll double check. But yeah, the ability to help movement out is a huge bonus. No, guidance is infantry and armored. All right, so this is kind of better than that. It doesn't move armored, but extra mobility helps you a lot. People don't recognize the importance of mobility because they're always looking at like stats and like engagements and stuff, but mobility can save you and help you out in tons of matches. If you're like, it doesn't matter how good your heroes are if they fall out of if they're positioned on the wrong places or they're not capable of engaging at that time. Anyways, next is Felicia's Plate, 14 might. She really needed that because Felicia always had balls for damage. I feel bad for people like Fate who gave friggin' mochi balls to Felicia.
No, didn't. No.
Right. So, after combat, if units attacked, inflicts defense res -7 on target foes within 2 spaces target through the next actions. Basically sticking on the debuff moniker, but the extra part is grant special cooldown charge +1 if foe uses magic, which is really nice because she has high res and a high speed. So if she fights magic heroes, it gets her glacies up quicker. and since she has so much res, she can basically nuke them. It's a really good bonus, and basically, it's very hard to see whether if anybody would ever switch off Felicia's plate. Either way, I don't see any reason not to use this. Fate, is there a better dagger out right now for you? Plate is really good from what I can tell. The thing is, like, you can use her defensively, take a hit, and then debuff, and then next turn attack to defense res -7. It's pretty big. The reason why I skipped the damage calculation thing is because I figure she wants to be anti-mage anyways, so attacking the lower of defense or res, she's attacking defense anyways. I'm not gonna put too much credence in that, unless you want her to fight more melee heroes. In tier 20, I guess there's opportunities to use that, but she's going to do very little damage either way. Yeah, it hits off for all units, I know. But I'm saying, like, in her core role of anti-mage, it wouldn't make as big of a difference. What the heck? This is so blurry. She can beat Hector's? I'm not sure how. Maybe if the Hector's minus res and not merged, and she's highly merged. If you're talking about specials, sure, of course, but without that, I don't know. Alright, Wingsword. I actually really am annoyed at IS for Wingsword, because Shiida came with Armor Slayer instead of Wingspear and instead of being a Lancer. So she should have always been anti-armor anyways. But now, anybody who's upgraded their Shiida to Armor Slayer, you basically wasted your resources because Winged Sword is so much better. You know, effective against cavalry and armed foes, and also 16 might. And if unit speed minus foes, the speed is greater than 1, in which case she probably is, because she's really freaking quick. She gets special charge cooldown, charge +1 per attack. So she does a whole lot better now. She covers more matchups, and she has this legendary weapon, and she can charge her special down quicker. It's pretty incredible. Basically, it's a slap in the face of anybody who did Armor Slayer, which is basically like me and like 5 other people, because very few people use Shiida. But now it's a good reason to use Shiida, especially with how common she is. I prefer plus attack at Fire Emblem. Plus attack is probably better. Mine's plus attack. I would keep it as plus attack because when you fight cavalry and when you fight armored, you're gonna have more speed anyways. Cav heroes though, I think she should do pretty well there as well. She just needs to have greater than 1 speed, and my Shiida just +1 is 41 speed, and she's plus attack. So especially in Fire Emblem, when she has a bit of support, she'll definitely beat the speed and get the cooldown. So yeah, if it's now a lot easier for me to recommend Shiida as your red hero for Fire Emblem. Before, it was really just saying, hope you get Elincia and hope you get murders for Elincia if you wanted to do Fire Emblem with a red sword hero. Failing that, you went for Pala because you get Pala as a 3 and 4 star, but Pala wasn't this great hero, and not a lot of people used her, but people did because there weren't a lot of options. Now it's really easy to just recommend Shiida, and she'll work great. Unless you got lucky with Halloween Noe or something, you would probably end up with like Shiida now, if you don't have like Elincia or something else. Either way, great upgrade. I like it. Just kind of weird that they didn't just make her a Lancer and give her Wing Spear, or like just didn't do Wing Sword from the beginning, but sure.
Because they're weird.
Yeah, they are weird. Rin. For Brahilder, or however you say Leo's weapon. What kind of Weapon Refinery upgrade do you think he's gonna get?
No.
Did you say no?
I said I don't know.
Okay, yeah. You're right. He probably isn't gonna get one. I mean, you didn't say anything.
Where is it?
I swear to God, guys. I feel like Ice has forgotten about Leo. It's been forever since he was on a banner. I was so certain he was gonna be on this banner at least through his summer form, and he wasn't. even that on the Legendary Heroes banner. It's so depressing. Alright guys, we're going to talk about Falchion. There's 3 Falchions, which is kind of interesting in a way, because number 1, splitting the Falchions up based on the heroes is wonky as is. But then number 2, there's one that's clearly super good, this one, and then there's one clearly not that good, this one, and then there's one clearly like okay. So I was expecting like game-changing Falchion upgrades. These aren't necessarily that. They're really good. I mean, any upgrade on Falchion is good at this point. But I was kind of expecting something incredible, like, you know, if fighting Dragon, Dragon automatically dies. Like, that was what I was expecting, basically. Anyways, basically restores 10 HP at the start of every second turn. They basically upgraded the Falchion renewal to renewal 3. It's a small bonus. Overall, in terms of a long battle drawn out, you'll get a lot more HP. So it's excellent. It's a small upgrade, and with the amount of abilities that Falchion has, it's a good weapon either way.
Right.
Yeah, like Breathbreaker or something. Like I fully expected something like that, you know? I was exaggerating with like if fighting against Dragon, Dragon automatically dies. Come on guys, give me a break. But I was expecting something really good, like to enhance the anti-Dragon aspect of it. So, but this one I believe is for Marth. Grants attack, speed, defense, res +2 to allies within 2 spaces during combat. This is very Marthy, because Marth, like helping out other heroes, it's in line with what I expect, like learned of him through Shadow Dragon. But attack, defense, res +2. It's basically like Allspur. Allspur. Okay. It's spurring everything. It's nice to have. Might not be game changing, but it's nice to have. Like, definitely get it, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, this doesn't really help Marth out for himself, but it helps your team out, which is kind of disappointing because Marth as a hero is kind of lackluster. So, drive. My bad, drive. This is within 2. Sometimes you make mistakes, minor mistakes, when you're talking, but okay. It's nice. Just kind of expected him to improve himself more, is what I was looking for. Marth, for the most part, it has been superseded by Lucina and Masked Marth, so this doesn't help him get back in that respect. Alright, this Falchion for Lucina, Chrom, and Masked Marth is more of what I was expecting to do to like improve the hero themselves. Effective against dragon foes, restores 10 HP at the start of every second turn, so all of them have the same basic renewal 3 aspect to them. Granting attack, speed, defense, res +4 during combat if units adjacent to an ally. This is actually really good. It actually really helps out the people who did distant counter Lucinas, especially. Because if you have distant counter, you're much more better defensively. You just leave them in range and then they get hit, and then it's great. Adding +4 to everything is pretty impressive. And that really changes the aspect of like how good they are. It really helps them as a whole. But this really just benefits Lucina and Masked Marth the most. For Chrom, it's iffy because you have to have a hero next to Chrom, and then Chrom has to also be, you know, like a hero adjacent to Chrom, and Chrom has to be there to attack something. So that's iffy, and you wouldn't really do distant counter on Chrom. It helps him out defensively, of course, and any kind of bonus is great, but like offensively, something like this is a lot harder to use. So it's iffy in terms of like how much it improves the hero. It's great to have upgrade, of course. It's just for some of the heroes, I'm struggling to imagine like how big of a difference it would actually make. But defensively, of course, this helps out a lot, and that makes things a lot easier to use. Still, I wouldn't say use Chrom. I would say, you know, great on Lucina, great on Masked Marth, where they can actually use all aspects of it really well. But on Chrom, the speed aspect's kind of getting wasted. Either way, great upgrade. It's totally feasible. Like, it is feasible, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, it's going to be hard to use offensively properly. because they're not ranged heroes. Defensively, yeah, it works easily, but offensively. So far with the 2 upgrades, one doesn't help the hero at all, the other one helps in certain situations, and placement with huge emphasis on placement. And placement is not something you can completely depend on all the time. Yeah. And finally, this is definitely the best Falchion upgrade, and it's really hard to argue against this one. I'm really surprised by how good this one is. It's basically the Ephraim treatment, but much, much, much better. Basically, if anyone builds Alm nowadays, I'm going to say just use Renewal, and then have Renewal in Falchion. Basically, he heals 20 HP every second turn, and then if he's at 100% HP, he doubles. And then he kills basically just about anything. Ether, my stats guy, who is highly critical of me during these streams, for whatever reason, even though he could have just prepped me before the damn stream so we don't make these mistakes. Fuck you, Ether. Look, it's hard to argue this is the best one because Alm really lacked a role. He was too slow and he didn't have the defense of Chrom, and he could never really use wind sweep. He was like wind sweep fodder. All right, so now with this, he hits hard. Now he guarantees the double. He can kill any dragon in the game basically. It's a brave double. Wait, attacks twice, then takes 5 damage after combat. I thought it meant you have to attack, then they attack, then you attack. He can quad now? Okay, I wouldn't... Wait. Isn't that kind of broken then?
Yes.
I thought... Okay, first of all, when I read this, I was interpreting it the other way because I was thinking, if it is a brave weapon, then what's the fucking point of all the other brave weapons? Because this is significantly better. There's not even a penalty on this, like a real penalty on like speed or something. I mean, Alm's but slow, but like still, it's just 5 damage. Like if you don't get hit, you just kill something, and then within 2 turns you're back on ready to use this. Like what the heck's the point then? There's like no drawback on this upgrade at all. It's also 16 might. So I was looking at it like how it would work for Ephraim, where it's basically a brash assault like thing. I didn't expect it to be, that good. I already thought this was amazing either way. Yeah, Emmanuel, I know in Echoes he had something like this too. But if you look at the games themselves and translate into Fire Emblem Heroes, if that was the case, a lot more heroes would be completely broken. And this is, in my opinion, completely broken because there's no drawbacks at all. 5 damage is nothing, and there's not even decrease in damage either.
FEH trying to power creep a meaty now with Alm, only took them almost a year.
Perhaps the funniest thing is that most people have sacrificed their Alms for like Windsweep or something, and now they're probably kicking themselves because Alm's now a god tier hero. It's mitigated by not being able to do it back-to-back turns. Okay, sure. It's every second turn you kill something. That's hardly any mitigation at all. If you have a healer, it's not even every other turn. Alright, whatever. Let's move on. Finally, Basilikos. This is life and death in the weapon itself, and acceleration of special trigger. I believe it didn't have an effect in the game itself for Raven, so attack speed +5, defense res -5. Either way, it's fine. Like if a good combination would thus be like Basilikos with Fury.
Good.
That way you.
Alm is my favorite lord. I got that plus +crease +2 big boy. Time to wail for more.
Alm's gonna be crazy good. I mean, look, I don't get it. Like this is far and beyond the best upgrade from this Weapon Refinery thing at all, completely. There's no drawbacks to it. my initial interpretation, I thought, was at least going to be partially fair. Like, if he can take damage, then that's fair. But this makes him by far the best offensive sword hero in the game then. Because that's a full might weapon. Not to mention effective against dragons. And the only drawback, he can mitigate within 2 turns. So I like the idea of things being broken because, you know, if everything's broken, the game's still balanced, but that's a bit much in my opinion. Anyways, for Basilikos, I think for Raven, you should definitely use this. A lot of the Ravens I see in tier 20 nowadays are built balanced. They're no longer using brave weapons. So if you just use Fury, you do attack speed plus 8 and then defense res minus 2. So I think that's like a good counter drawback on it. I don't really like the idea of double life and death because I think you just die in one shot or something. But either way, it's really good. So yeah, that's Weapon Refinery. We ended up talking about this Falchion upgrade for a very long time because it's busted, but that's everything. I don't know. It's pretty clear which one's the best here. It's kind of ridiculous. If I had to talk about like the upgrades I'm most excited about outside of them, I'm not really excited about that. That's kind of crazy. I like Basilikos. It's really simple. Special trigger -1, life and death 3. Again, Raven's one of those heroes you can get a lot of, so he's a much better option for Arena now. And Felicia's plate's also really good, mostly because of Felicia's role as a hero, and now she can mitigate her lower attack through damage calculations and, you know, special cooldown +1.